It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from London Brewing Company, and this is a can of their Gigglemug. It's a juicy pale coming in at 4% ABV in a 440 milliliter can. I've had some terrific beers from this company. I really have. London Brewing Company, completely kind of flown under the radar of the London beer scene. They really have. But I think it's time. I think it's time we all kind of stood up and looked at this brewery and went, actually, these guys could do some blooming great things. I really mean that. I have had this beer before, just to let you know, very early on in the review. I did an interview with the head brewer about 4 months ago. I believe it was about 4 months ago. And we went through the whole range of beer. So I have had this beer before and I remember really enjoying it. But with that said, this is another can of beer, could be completely different. Let's get it out into a glass and see what we get. And of course, there may be those small kind of in the moment, hanging around with the head brewer, you know, what am I trying to say here? Your judgment is not fully kind of focused maybe on the beer because you're having a bit of a giggle and a bit of a drink with the head brewer online. Now it's just me, I can really dissect this beer and really kind of pull the flavours. And again, that's just me being honest. That's me being a human being. Somebody who, yeah, beer always tastes a little bit better when you've got maybe a head brewer or an owner of a brewery talking to you about the history of the beer and or the history of the brewery and you know, now it's just me in my kitchen. One Finger Whitehead. It's a straw coloured on its way to being an amber juicy pale ale. Good levels of carbonation rising up the side of the glass. It looks very good, nice and hazy, very 2021. Let's get the aroma then. Yeah, still good. Still good. I'd like to say a big thanks to our channel sponsor, beersofeurope.co.uk, for sending us the beer. Beersofeurope.co.uk, the largest online beer store in the UK with a fabulous range of beer from all over the world. Check out the link in the description box of this video for beersofeurope.co.uk. This is an independent beer review. On we go. Lovely aroma. Really lovely aroma. Juicy Pale Ale is a really good loads of tangerine flavours, slight spiciness, slight pepperiness. Lovely kind of tangerine, grapefruit, mixed fruit jams. Smells good, let's dive in. Cheers everybody. Ah, yeah. Stone the crows. Stone the crows. Honestly, some companies are just natural to marketing. Companies like, let's use a recent example, Overtone Brewing Company. Started off just 2 or 3 years ago in Glasgow. Small company producing absolutely sensational New England IPAs. They went on a massive marketing spree and now they've become that kind of, if you like, Cloudwater, Verdant, Daya. They've managed to get themselves to be thought of in that kind of category. But they set themselves up to do that. They had a great kind of, for me, a great marketing team. They were sending me beer for a long time, very early on, banging the beers over to me. I was promoting it, others were promoting it, and all of a sudden you've got a great big lots of momentum for the brewery and everybody, and then all of a sudden when people start talking great about your brewery, all of a sudden you start selling out, and when you start selling your beers out, people start saying I can't get their beer, and then it becomes a bit of a frenzy, a bit like America where they queue round the block for like Angry Chair beers. They get released at a certain time at a certain date, and the next thing you know people are queuing round the block for their beer, to the point where in America, I know I read an article in a beer magazine that the local residents who live by the brewery are complaining that they got people queuing outside or round the block, round their houses, to get people trying to get to this brewery. There's an art to that. And some breweries have it, some breweries don't. I'm going to say, with respect, this brewery probably doesn't have it, that marketing kind of like stealth, if you like, to get to where Deya, Verdant, Overtone are at the moment. Cloudwater, to a certain extent, but they've gone into Tesco and kind of slightly ruined their reputation a bit. But that said, what I'm trying to say here is, it doesn't mean it's any less of a beer. This beer, and this is my point, this beer is absolutely terrific. It's a terrific example of a juicy pale ale. It's got all of the flavours as a Verdant beer, or a Cloudwater beer, or an Overtone beer. It's nicely carbonated, lovely hop flavours coming through. Grapefruity, orange peel, fleshy blood orange. It's very, very jammy, if you like. Jammy and tart-like. A little bit of sweetness, a little bit of bitterness. Good example of a beer. Really good example of a beer. And really, this is where I'm going to be even more honest with this brewery. London Brewing Company. What a fantastic name for a company. If ever you wanted to live in the capital, or if you ever lived in the capital and were a brewer, you would want to call your company London Brewing Company. If you hold them rights to them names, then you're already almost worth a Beavertown, or a Meantime, or a whatever big, large, or slightly large brewer that was producing great beer who's just been kind of recently bought out over the last few years. London Brewing Company. That's like, it just rings wonderfully well. So I'm doing my bit. I'm going to stand back. I'm doing my bit to say, London Brewing Company, for you lot watching, go and try their beer. It's pretty darn terrific. That is a fantastic example of a juicy pale ale. It really is. Lovely. With a burst of peach and apricot flavours, this thirst-quenching juicy pale ale is guaranteed to put a giggle on your mug. A brew of which those who lived in Victorian England would be most proud of. I remember the brewer telling me about why it's called Gigglemug, and I can't remember anymore because it was 4 months ago and I got a head like a sieve. But it does mean something. It's a London term, Gigglemug. I like that beer enough to give it a Stone the Crows 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! Cheers.